Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 48 of Future, and this one is titled Early Years. She jumped for joy and waved her hands around, whooping and hollering. Sashi looked defeated, the poor soul. Chisuki, sweet, can I please touch your hand? Insight suddenly asked the ruby-eyed blonde. Okay, he said, holding his hand out to her. Insight touched his hand and nodded. Okay, darling, thank you. Any reason for wanting to touch his hand? You asked Insight quietly as she stood up. Dynamite's boy, yes? She asked you. You nodded. Same quirk as his dad. It's been activated once before. Okay, so Sashi's story does stand correct, you thought. He can burst into flames, yes? You questioned. It's a bit more in-depth than that. He possesses the explosion quirk, but can detonate it all over. Wherever the sweat glands are, he can detonate it. Unlike Dynamite, who appears to only be able to use it from his hands, she said. The kid has some serious possessiveness and jealousy issues, and they will cause him some trouble with his quirk if he doesn't rein it in, she said with a click of her tongue. Much like his dad, you chuckled. You said it, Insight said with an eye roll. God bless his wife, poor soul, she added. Anyway, I'm off now. Be good kids, and Jinny, remember to think of happy things in your hands when you need the glue to go away, okay? Okay, Jinny replied with a giant smile. I will. And that's basically how the relationship between Sashi, Jinny and Chisuki sat for the next few years. Jinny became the mediator, calming Chisuki and protecting and encouraging Sashi. She treated them as equally as possible and did her best to remind Chi that he didn't own her and couldn't keep her away from Sashi, and made every effort to make Sashi feel validated and strong. Shortly after Sashi's 10th birthday, he had to move to America for special quirk training. He was excited to go, but at the same time he really didn't want to leave Jinny. When will you come back to me? She asked him tearfully as she stood in the driveway, giving him one last hug before he left to go to the airport. I don't know, Jinny, but I'll always remember you, and when I come back, I'll come and find you straight away, he said solemnly. Jinny burst into tears. Don't forget me, okay? You're my best friend, Sashi. I won't forget you, I promise. I could never forget you, he said, hugging her tightly. Can I hold your hand one last time? He asked shyly. Jinny grabbed his hand and leaned into him, wrapping her other arm around him and burying her face into his chest. Sashi was blushing madly. His parents were right behind him, but he just wanted that one last touch. Sashi, baby, we need to go, Jem called from the passenger car door. Sashi nodded, but didn't look at his mum. Jinny, I need to go now, he said sadly. Jinny bawled as he pried his hand from hers and bolted to the car, tears streaming down his face. I'll miss you, Sashi, she wailed as he hopped into the car, and Shoto reversed it out onto the road. Jinny chased the car down the street, not wanting to lose sight of it, but before long she couldn't keep up, and it disappeared into the traffic. Chisuki was so excited that Sashi had left for America. This was his chance to get Jinny alone, but something had changed. She was still happy, but at times she'd just go quiet and just sit and zone out, staring sadly at her feet. It made him feel mad that he wasn't able to fulfill her every wish and desire, and he slowly started to drift away from her, finding his own friends and becoming their ringleader, much like his father had been at his age. Jinny made friends with the other girls in her class, and over time the ache in her heart of not having Sashi or Chi close to her eased. She had heard from Sashi a handful of times, and it sounded like he was doing well over there. She was happy for him. She saw Chi daily at school, and they were on good terms, but nothing special like what they had as young kids. But she was content. Time was flying by, and before she knew it, she was having to apply for entrance to high schools. Daddy, I want to go to UA just like you and Mummy did, she said one night over dinner. That's fantastic, honey, Kiri replied. What course would you do? The hero course, she replied emphatically. Kiri jumped up and roared. That's my girl, he said, running around the table to pick her up and spin her around. Daddy, she giggled. I'm 14 now, you can put me down, I'm not a baby. Sorry, honey, I'm just so excited. He beamed, his sharp teeth glistening in the light. Do you know where she wants to go? Kiri asked as he put her down. UA too, I think, she mused. I'll ask him tomorrow at school. Chi did indeed want to go to UA. Someone had to be the next top hero, he had said. it's going to be me. Jinny had rolled her eyes and laughed. He had really developed a strong sense of self-confidence over the years, but that's what she liked about him. He was confident, strong and cunning, not to mention pretty good looking. Those piercing red eyes and blonde hair really set him apart from the other boys, and Jinny had to admit that deep down she still had a little bit of a crush on him that she had harboured as a kindy kid, and often wondered if she would still get that butterfly feeling in her tummy if she held his hand. But she hadn't held his hand again since that day that her quirk manifested, and she certainly wasn't going to just march up to him in the middle of school and hold his hand right there. How embarrassing. And so the day came for the results of the UA entrance exam. Kiri and Yin sat at the kitchen table as Jinny nervously opened the envelope and scanned the letter, her strong heartbeat pulsating her vision. Looks like my cliffhangers are in fan form still. This is the second to last chapter. Tomorrow, I'll see you there.